How do they live so long compared to that life now?
Oh, yes. So there's a couple things going on with that. First off, you have Adam and Eve in the garden, and so they're perfect in their genetics. They're also perfect in their morality. But what's going on is when they're removed from the paradise, they're also removed from the perfection of paradise, the natural order. So they're not going to live forever. And what you find is, with this death sentence of being removed from paradise, is the succeeding generations, there's issues going on with the genetics. So everybody's kind of going down in age. And then you have some genetic anomalies, say like Methuselah's actually lived longer than Adam, and he's several generations out. But generally you find people living less and less and less. At the time of the flood, God was also saying, well, because people are sinful everywhere, the cap in the age will be 120 years, but it does take many generations for that to actually reach its fulfillment. But if it's taking many generations to reach its fulfillment, we could also say, well, that cap is actually probably tied with genetics. So again, if you look to human genetics nowadays, it is capped around 120 because that's, for cell division, that's how long little things called telomeres can actually divide cells to about the natural age of 120. Now, there's been people who can get a little beyond that, a little bit under it, but 120 is the big round figure. So with Abraham, what's going on is those long ages are still coming down to that 120-year mark. And we could also probably say that with Abraham and some of the other patriarchs, some of the other saints in the Old Testament, that God is extending their lives beyond what would be natural. Say like even Moses himself, he died at 120, but it was not a natural death. God visited a punishment in this world for him because Moses, he did not do what was right at a certain point in time. He lost faith. And God therefore said, you are not going to go into the promised land, you'll just see the promised land. So Moses saw the promised land from a mountain, and God took his life there. So as it says in Deuteronomy, his eyes had not dimmed at that point, so he could still have carried on for quite some time because he was in God's grace, but 120 years for him as well. That's your question? Good. Okay.
A little bit to that point is I've noticed of the people in the congregation here who I've discovered anything about their age, they are 10 or more years older than they look. So there's some of God's grace in that.
I think so. Like if you're going with a naturalistic type of explanation, people tend to be a lot calmer and assured in the church because we know who has our back. So when there's a whole bunch of issues, we're not as stressed as people who would be outside of God's care. So for a naturalistic explanation of that, but yeah, God does take care of his own.